Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Friday. It is October 31st. It is Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. All right, so we'll start off at the top of the board. An interesting statistic this early in the season. We're 177 games into a 1,312 game schedule, so still plenty left to be decided here. But so far, the games have been close. 78.5% of the National Hockey League's games played have been either a one-goal game or a game where there's two or more goals that are the difference. However, there's an empty netter or empty netters that are involved to make it look more lopsided than it necessarily was. Last night, also, I would say that 5 out of 11 games going to overtime shows you how close everything is, right? And a couple of those went to a shootout. There is a lot of parity in the NHL. There's a lot of talk about whether that's good or that's bad, and people want to see, do they want to see a dominant team or not? I think it's better when the 32nd ranked team in the NHL is a good team. And I think right now the team that's at the bottom of the league, which has been Calgary for a while, they're not a bad team. And I think that's good. I think it's good to have a league where any of the 32 teams can be argued as being good or potentially as being bad. And I know people see that as mediocrity as well. But for the National Hockey League, if you want to sell tickets in all 32 locations, it definitely helps if it feels like all 32 teams are kind of in this, where even the teams that have poor records, you can make an argument, could turn things around. So I think this is good. I know there are people that think it's not, but I do think it's good for the National Hockey League. Macklin Celebrini, another interesting statistic here. He is the 5th teenager in the last 15 years to record 17 or more points in a calendar month. Clayton Keller, Connor McDavid, Connor Bedard, and Andrei Svechnikov are the others. So that's pretty heady territory already. And he's had a really, really strong month. Macklin Celebrini looks fantastic. Definitely becoming a superstar player in the National Hockey League. And yet there's still but can he actually be on Team Canada? Yes, he can. Elias Lindholm, he got hurt last night. He collided with Jordan Greenway during the game against the Sabres. Marco Sturm, coach of the Bruins, saying he'll be out at least a few weeks. So I would say bet on a month. When it comes to how long Lindholm's going to be out. Of course, they just got Hampus Lindholm back, so Elias Lindholm being out is a shame. Boston trying to get back to NHL 500 as well in their next game. We'll see how things go with Lindholm on the shelf. Mackenzie Blackwood, who has yet to play this season, he is expected, though, to make his season debut against Vegas, that game which is starting in about 45 minutes time. So Mackenzie Blackwood being back for them, that's great news. And honestly, Blackwood, one of the, I would say still, top 10, top 15 goaltenders in the NHL. Wedgwood's played well while he's been out. But I do think there were signs in Wedgwood's game over the last couple of weeks that he was being overextended and overplayed. So he's likely quite happy to see Blackwood back as well. Dylan Strome in a regular jersey at practice. He could play tonight. I didn't include him in the preview because I wasn't sure if he was going to play or not. Last I'd seen he was in a non-contact, but now he's in a regular jersey today. So he could play tonight for the Washington Capitals, which could be a huge boost for them as they now find themselves in the second wildcard spot. Nick Schmaltz. So we've talked a lot about Nick Schmaltz this year and how well he's done. And I've mentioned I think he's probably scoring more points than... I don't think he can keep this pace up. I think it's a lot to expect of him. But could he be a point per game player? Sure. But when asked about, what changes have been made, he made changes to his off-season workouts and says it looks like they've been translating well to his game in the National Hockey League. And his 17 points thus far in 11 games would say, they definitely have been translating well. I've been very vocal about how much I like Nick Schmaltz, dating back to when he was a Chicago Blackhawk. And I've never seen anything in his game to change my mind on him. I have with other players. If there's a player I really like and then all of a sudden I just stop talking about him, that may very well indicate, I liked him, but at this point, probably not a great National Hockey League player at this stage. But there's so much negativity anywhere. I try to stay out of that as much as I can. Schmaltz, I think, is having a really strong run. I don't know if it's necessarily something he can come up with, but if he ends up producing in the 100-point range, guys are going to ask about that off-season workout and try to do the same thing next year. And I definitely think there is something to be said for an NHL player deciding I'm good, but I want to be a little bit better. I think there are players in the NHL that they're gifted athletes, they're just naturals for it. And I don't know that they necessarily take those steps to get to the point where they're an elite player. They're a good player. Maybe they don't take that step to become an elite player, which is okay. But I do commend Schmaltz for saying, hey, I need to get better and doing what he can to get there. Seth Jarvis, who took a puck off the back of his foot last night, looked like that hurt a lot. He didn't finish the game. The good news is he's out skating today. So no word on whether or not he's going to play Carolina's next game. But the fact that he's on the ice and he's skating definitely bodes well for him being in the next game for the Carolina Hurricanes. Pyotr Kochetkov has been activated off of injured reserve. So now you have 3 good goaltenders for Carolina. I don't know that Bussy would need waivers, but I think he might, and I don't think he'd clear. So I think for Carolina, I think they kind of have to carry 3 goaltenders at this point in time. So that's going to be interesting now with Kochetkov back, because 3 goalie rotation is one of those things that we've seen in NHL history doesn't necessarily work all that well. Adam Foote, after last night's game, said that Brock Besser shouldn't miss any time. He should be back for the next game. I don't know if this is wishful thinking or not, but I will agree with Foote that, yeah, hopefully he's playing the next game. They can't afford to lose Besser. I know they still won the game last night because Kiefer Sherwood has decided he's going to win the Rocket Richard this year. Also, no assists. But, yeah, the Canucks definitely need Besser. They need that offense. It's kind of, there's some smoke and mirrors going on with the Canucks right now. I appreciate that 6-6 record. I'm not quite sure how they got there. But, yeah, losing Besser is not really something that I think the Canucks or most fans would want to see happen right now. So the reason for the Penguins jersey is simple. Today, the Penguins are number 1 in the National Hockey League. This is not something that we could say about the overall standings since 2016. And yet still, I'm seeing articles about, so Malkin could be moved at the deadline. Not if they're first in the NHL, he won't be. Can you imagine if Kyle Dubas came out and said, hey, so we're first in the league. I know it was trade deadline and we don't know if we're going to bring Malkin back. So we traded him. We traded him to Colorado for a couple of first round draft picks. How do you feel about me, Pittsburgh? And he's fired immediately. So like, I don't think there's going to be a big sell off with the Penguins. I do think that with Pittsburgh being off to this huge start, I think it's kind of hurt some of the media who were waiting for Crosby to get disgruntled with a slow start, or with that slow start to be able to say, all right, so Malkin's on his way out, right? I don't think anybody's going anywhere as long as the Penguins are first in the NHL. In fact, I think they'd be adding at the deadline. So right now, things look pretty good for the Penguins. They were full value for that win over Minnesota last night. I know it's Minnesota. I know Minnesota's had a lot of struggles. Believe me, the power rankings board right now, it's not pretty for Minnesota. But I don't think Pittsburgh's moving Malkin at the deadline necessarily. Gustav Nyquist not at practice for the Winnipeg Jets. I haven't seen anything about what exactly the nature of the injury was from last night. I know he didn't finish that game against Chicago. Brad Lambert, it looks like he's in a regular jersey. Odds are he ends up being the guy that jumps into the lineup here. Lowry is close, but he's still in the jersey they use for the extras, so he's very likely to not be playing tomorrow. Chibrikov's in the exact same situation. So those players are close to being in the lineup, but not quite there yet. Lowry expected to be back in early November. Tomorrow's early November, so we're right in that timeline where Lowry was expected to be back. If you are a baseball fan, of course, tonight is Game 6 for the World Series. I will be checking that out. Game 7, if needed, is tomorrow. I kind of hope the Blue Jays close it out tonight. First off, because I'm really rooting for the Blue Jays, and secondly, because tomorrow night is, of course, it's a Saturday night in the NHL. We know how busy that can get, and it's not nearly as busy tonight, so we'll see what ends up happening. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.